praise God, the Liberal Machine is dead. Hey, folks, welcome to the James A. Hendrick School of Leadership. Our topic is the Liberal Machine. The election is over. Trump has won. There should be a peaceful transfer of power. I have my good friend here, aspiring politician Carter. Uh, Carter, what can we do now as a nation to heal?
Well, I think it's important to focus on the fact that we decided. The American people overwhelmingly came out and made a decision about who they wanted to be the representatives for the next 2 years at least. I think it's important to remember that even if it had gone the other way, I don't think it would have been the end of the world. I think the country would have kept existing as it was before and as it has for 2 generations, 2.5 generations. It's just important to remember that things move on, even if you don't like the outcome. And there's a lot of people who didn't like the outcome but are willing to accept it and move forward together. One of our fellow Toastmasters that attends Toastmasters with us, he even said the other day that he didn't like the outcome, but he reads the same Bible as us, and he accepts the outcome the same as we do, and he's going to do his part to be an American and accept the outcome of the election. I thought it was great. I thought it was well said.
One of the things I think that is clear from this election was a cross-cultural support for President Trump. How can we cross-culturally in our families? Because you're married to someone like from a different culture in some ways, Carter, and I'm about to be married to someone like that. How can we heal the culture in our country and in our families?
I think the best way to do that is to point to the fact that we've done so well in the past 4 decades. I mean, look at the strides that we've made in terms of coming to a conclusion on so many issues that so many people have. You want to talk about civil rights. You want to talk about the outcome of the Afghanistan war coming to a close. I mean, elections themselves. There's always been a close to it, and I think it's important to remember that. And I think if you want to try to bring families together, you just have to remember that you share blood. And even if you don't share blood with people who have an opposing view of you, the beauty of this country is that you can come together, talk about what you believe, listen to what somebody else believes, and if you don't agree, you can agree to disagree and walk away and have learned something. I think it's important for people to realize that this shouldn't be something that we get upset about, which I think you know creates a lot of the discontent that people have.
Election night, I was watching the election with my fiance, and uh, I thought that she would root for Trump, and I was surprised when she rooted for Kamala. But we held each other, and she told me, she said, "I may not like the outcome of this election, but the best man won." How can we move beyond labels and embrace other cultures close to us, knowing that we all believe the same color?
That's actually very interesting because I think it's important to remember that people from a lot of different cultures have come together and unanimously agreed because you look at Cubans and Nicaraguans and Haitians who have come here legally into this country. They're looking at all the illegal immigrants that are flooding in, and they're saying, you know what, I did this the right way, and these people are getting treated better than I am. I think a lot of the vote really came from the legal immigrants who saw what was happening at the southern border and didn't appreciate it. And there's a lot to be said about the many, many different cultures that can agree on that simple fact, which is enough to rally behind a person. But I honestly have come to see the MAGA message as more of that, a message. People are tied to Trump pretty often. And I think a lot of people are kind of turning away from that because they understand after this 4 years, it's not like MAGA is just going to fall off. People are definitely going to continue the MAGA message. It's going to be America first because people have realized that that's what the American people want. And I think it's important for us to realize that even if you don't appreciate that, we live in a country where you can voice your opinion.
My fiance, we were going down to the courthouse to get some records to, we haven't got to the marriage license yet, but we went down to get some records for her and everything. And we were getting ready to leave the parking lot, and she saw obviously some Cuban migrants
Mm.
crossing the way, and I could almost hear her yelling out the window, "Obey the crosswalk traffic laws and use the button." And even she, who rooted for Kamala, she told me that it's best for people to come legally,
Yes.
but not legally. She's Latina,
Mhm.
and I think, how can we move beyond labels and fear mongering from the degenerate culture and just really start healing as a country?
I think the best way to do that is to move away from certain people as your martyr. I think Donald Trump is definitely that. He's definitely a martyr. But like I said, with the MAGA message, that's something that you can't really hate on. I mean, you can simply look at the policies of it. You can simply look at the realities of what we've had the past, well, in Trump's presidency, I should say. I was going to say the past 4 years, but obviously we haven't had that. But if you look at Trump's presidency, these are messages that the American people have come out for him in a landslide, claimed who they wanted to be their representative for a reason, because they want to make America great. I think to keep tension out of it, it's just important to focus on their message. And that's why the liberal message failed so miserably, to be honest with you, this past election, just because the American people saw the past 4 years, didn't appreciate what they saw, and they wanted to elect a better representative. God bless America.
We're tired of really, we're tired of the fear mongering and the labeling.
Yeah.
And well, like you, Carter, I believe that it's time for America to go and live in government and families by principle. How can we do that?
You mean incorporate America into what we teach to like our children and stuff? What do you mean?
Like biblical Christian principles.
Gotcha. Well, I think it's important that you bring some of those Christian principles into politics because clearly, I don't know if you watched any of the Trump rallies where he talked about people. A lot of people have told him that God saved his life, spared his life for a reason, and it's a very powerful moment. Even when you're watching it on video, you hear the crowd, cheering for him. You listen to what he's saying, you can tell that he's genuine, and you think this is a man who has something that he believes in above himself. And I think that's what a lot of politicians lack. I think that they put themselves before the American people. And when you put a God before yourself, it's much easier to humble yourself and look at yourself as just another American. And I think that's what a lot of the issues we run into with politics is people put themselves on a pedestal, when in reality, if they just put themselves on the same pedestal as everybody else, it would be a lot easier to pass laws that benefit everybody else. But they're separated by such a far factor that, I mean, it's almost impossible to get that out of politics. But if you bring Christian beliefs into it, I think it would benefit basically everybody. I mean, you look at anybody in Trump's administration, they're a faith-based man, and that's what's going to be needed for this next 4 years.
Even with the election over, I'm going back to enforcing a blockade on the news because, but whichever side is won, we should bask in that winning.
Yes.
But it seems like whichever side, no matter what, somebody is not happy.
Yes.
And they're still fear mongering. How can we get beyond the fear mongering and the reactiveness in the news and in our degenerate culture?
I think a lot of people are catching on to the media being just that. That's what they've always done is fear monger. It's always been propaganda. It's always been look at this, don't do your own research. When we live in an age of information now, and people see right through this mass media and the same message that's being portrayed. The multiple compilations you can look at of different media outlets saying the exact same thing. It's just cookie cutters. And people are catching on to that. That's why they're looking into independent media. They're looking for people that are doing their own research with their own opinions and consider themselves free thinkers. And I think America is turning into a lot of that, a free thinker. And it's a beautiful thing, in my opinion.
The Apostle Paul counseled the Corinthians, come out from among you and be ye separate. And that's what Christians are calling to do And from this point after today, we're going to turn our focus off so much of politics until maybe sometime next year,
Yeah.
and put it more on leadership. Thank you, Carl, for coming today.
Absolutely, Jimmy. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, folks. Until next time, hope you enjoy listening to the James A. Hendricks School of Leadership. If you like it, please subscribe to become a part of the James A. Hendricks School of Leadership classroom. Until next time, I want you to keep up your faith. Please keep up hope.
Yes.
When you need to self-soothe, say, Jesus saves and I'm okay. So we
Yes.
can all collectively say, Jesus saves and we're all going to be okay. Take care and be proactively informed. Remember this, from the bottom of our hearts, we really love you.
Yes.
We really, really love you. God bless you, and please have a blessed day. God bless America.
Bye, everybody.